Hello and welcome to another Explorer video. Today we're taking a look at a blue-white artifact deck built around Leyline Axe and Metalwork Colossus. So Leyline Axe starts out on the battlefield if it's in our opening hand and counts as a 4-mana artifact, a non-creature artifact more specifically, that will also discount our Metalwork Colossus. This 11-mana 10/10 artifact creature gets an X mana discount, where X is the total mana value of non-creature artifacts we control. So if we can start out with a Leyline Axe or even 2 copies, then we can already quickly cast our Metalwork Colossus, which can also potentially return from our graveyard if we sack 2 artifacts, which can also come up. So that's kind of the core plan. Put a lot of artifacts in play, cast a cheap or sometimes free Colossus, and then we can suit it up with a Leyline Axe, now giving it +1/+1, double strike and trample, and then a single attack from Colossus can threaten lethal, putting the opponent in a very awkward spot. And then we're also playing the full set of Brass Knuckles, which is another 4-mana artifact equipment, and this one makes a copy of itself when we cast it, so now we have 8 mana worth of artifacts to discount our Colossus, so then we can often cast it for free in the very same turn, and if we put both Brass Knuckles onto one creature, we can also give it double strike. And Brass Knuckles also synergizes incredibly well with Simulacrum Synthesizer, which will make a construct token whenever we cast an artifact spell with mana value 3 or greater, and then by making a copy, that will trigger Synthesizer twice, so we now get a pair of construct tokens, and then we could even play a Colossus afterwards, triggering the Synthesizer once again. So these are some of the core synergies of the deck. And then rounding things out at 1 mana, there's Portable Hole, exiling opposing non-land permanents with mana value 2 or less. Moonsnare Prototype can also maybe tap a Portable Hole, or even better, a Leyline Axe that we put in play for free to make a colorless mana, and can occasionally be channeled as well. Then the Boots is a way to maybe give our Colossus or Construct tokens haste for just 1 mana, also adding 1 power and ward 1. We've got a Shadow Spear as a way to give trample and lifelink, can be important against other aggro decks. And then at 2 mana, there's Fabrication Foundry, which makes white mana to activate artifacts or cast artifact spells. And then we also have an Iron Crag, since it is legendary, we don't want to run too many copies. And then Ingenious Smith can find an artifact in the top 4, and then whenever we play our first artifact each turn, it will pick up a +1/+1 counter, so that can also help assemble some of our artifact synergies. And then we've got 2 copies of Assimilation Aegis for more creature removal, while also triggering our Simulacrum Synthesizer. And then the mana base is one of the areas where this deck will differ from its Pioneer counterpart, since even though we recently got Pioneer Masters, we did not get Sanctum of Ugin as a very important land for this archetype, because it allows you to cast a Colossus, sacrifice a Sanctum to get another Colossus to immediately often cast for free as well. So we do miss out on that interaction, but instead we do have Darksteel Citadel, which is still quite synergistic in the deck as an artifact land that we can find with Ingenious Smith. If we play the Darksteel Citadel, Ingenious Smith can also pick up a +1 counter, and then it's also an extra artifact to help grow the construct tokens from Synthesizer, so there are still plenty of synergies to be had with Citadel, even if it's not quite as flashy as Sanctum of Ugin. And then we also have a Fomori Vault, which we can activate to find additional spells. And then Inventor's Fair can also gain some life, and can also be sacrificed to tutor up an artifact, like maybe our Metalwork Colossus. And then some blue-white dual lands to round things out, and the channel lands for added interaction. So yeah, that's our deck. Now let's jump into some games and see how the deck does. Okay, we're on the play. We have Axe in our opener, double Brass Knuckles. So yeah, just waiting for a Colossus, I guess. I would love to find a Synthesizer here as well. And there's Colossus. Could also find our artifact land with the Smith. Against the red, Portable Hole should be effective, although Foundry at least guarantees that we get up to 4 mana. Challenger, take 2. Play Foundry. And then, yeah, I don't think we're going to be able to block the Challenger, but I'll still hang back, because they play a different haste creature. Might of the Meek. And they are playing Leyline of Resonance as well. So we're both playing with ley lines in a way. Alright, so we can play Brass Knuckles and then a free Colossus. And then next turn we can suit it up in a variety of ways. I'm gonna block. Even if they manage to somehow trade for my Colossus, we'll figure out a way to get it back. And yeah, it's just gonna be Challenger and Hardfire Hero. Alright, so this is one to equip, giving double strike, although Leyline Axe already gives double strike and trample, so there's not a huge difference there. But I guess I could give the Smith double strike now. And then this is 22 trample basically. So yeah, opponent's pretty dead. Awesome, on to the next one. Okay, we're on the play. We are missing a Colossus, but we do have Synthesizer and 2 Brass Knuckles, which is kind of cute. And play this tapped, can go Foundry plus Portable Hole next turn if needed. So hoping they cannot take away my Synthesizer. So far so good. And Shadow Spear doesn't really seem needed. Opponent could be a blank Devotion deck with cards like Grey Merchant, in which case a life gain would potentially come in handy. But yeah, I think if we find a Colossus, that's probably better. But plenty of ways to trigger Synthesizer in the meantime. And there's a Slasher. Okay, still gonna play the Knuckles, I think, just to make sure we have enough blockers lined up. And then maybe next turn we can go Foundry into Synthesizer. Alright, opponent does have the Bloodletter combo with Slasher, so we're forced to block. But it's still a trade at least. So not too bad. So yeah, Foundry into Synthesizer. Portable Hole doesn't do much for us at the moment. But then next turn the Knuckles will make even more tokens. And then Boots seems like a decent follow-up. Since we can play Knuckles, play Boots and equip. And in fact I could equip one of my creatures right now with Knuckles for double strike. We'll need the second one first. I guess we could mix and match the different Brass Knuckles. Doesn't have to be a token and a non-token. And I guess with the Boots, that would also satisfy the condition. Opponent does have another Slasher, so that's kind of scary. But yeah, we'll still play Knuckles. And if we can attack with 3 lethal tokens, that's good enough. So, play Boots. Equip. And attack. So they would need Fatal Push or some other removal spell to survive. And they don't have it. Sweet, on to the next one. Alright, we're on the draw. This hand's not particularly exciting. We're just kind of ramping into nothing. This is much better. So keep Leyline Axe and probably the Knuckles. So I could ditch Ingenious Smith. Even though it could find us some 3 mana plays as well. I think if we can just go Portable Hole, the opponent's first real threat, and then turn 4 Knuckles into Colossus, that might be good enough. Definitely a close one. Because yeah, a card like Synthesizer would also be nice to find, so we can follow it up with a Brass Knuckles. Put on red-black, Kumano, so probably the prowess aggro deck. For now, play Prototype. So that can also maybe cast a turn 3 Knuckles into Colossus. And a Slick Shot without plotting, so perfect target for Portable Hole. And I'll play the Prototype, so next turn we can play Knuckles regardless of drawing a land. Arcanist looking to get back maybe some pump spells. Sometimes they have Fatal Push in the main deck, but that's not going to be answering our Colossus. That's 8 mana worth of cards, so plenty of cost reduction here. And then next turn we're attacking for 20 damage basically. Our opponent could chum block with 1 creature and then still maybe threaten lethal on the way back. So we do have to be careful. Opponent may be doing some math to see if they can attack for lethal already, with Arcanist getting stuff back. So if they're close to attacking for lethal now, they can certainly attack for lethal next turn. Sellsword goes face. Interesting. I'll block. And play Sellsword. That was a very strange play, because now they're forced to chump with the Sellsword. And could suit up double Knuckles, not that it makes a difference. But it's kind of a fun thing to do. So we have double strike. Sadly doesn't upgrade to triple strike. But yeah, now we're at 10. Only facing 2 damage that we know of. It's gonna be a Claim to Fame, fair enough. And Ancestral Anger. Still gonna be a little bit short of lethal, unless they top deck maybe another Ancestral Anger into like a Monstrous Rage. But yeah, still close, 8 damage. And a Blood Crypt. Opponent goes out on their own terms, I can respect it. On to the next one. Okay, we're on the play. We've got a Leyline Axe, double Synthesizer. Yeah, this seems fine. We don't always need Colossus to win the game. Oof, wow. Opponent's on a Green Devotion deck with double Leyline of the Guild Pact. So if that's combined with a Nykthos, our opponent could make enough mana to cast an Eldrazi on turn 2, pretty much. And they also have the turn 1 Elves. So yeah, if our opponent's got turn 2 Nykthos, their hand could not have gotten much better. All we can do is play a Synthesizer on turn 2, so it's not like we're off to a bad start. Just kind of pales in comparison to the opponents. And I guess we can even play another Prototype first. I mean, yeah, turn 2, and we have all these permanents in play already. Ingenious Smith, I can play, and if it finds our artifact land, I could still play Synthesizer, so I'm probably synthing first, and then waiting on Smith until the following turn. Is that still good enough? Yeah, I guess it's okay. Could maybe still find a Portable Hole that we can cast. Alright, so no Nykthos at least, but Invasion might find it. And yep, it sure did. So next turn, Nykthos makes how much mana? Their devotion is up to 10 already. So yeah, that's not going to be very good for us, I'll tell you that much. So play Synthesizer. And at this point I don't need another Smith. Can equip the boots. Attack for 8. And now we have to brace for impact. So worst case scenario is they just activate the Lair of the Hydra. But they probably have some spells they want to cast. And a Cavalier is a good starting point. Another Invasion. Now I guess we can equip the Leyline Axe next turn, so that's not too bad. Opponent's down to 1 card in hand, but 19 devotion. Okay. So if I play Smith, I can still equip a Leyline Axe. And there's a Metalwork Colossus, which I should be able to play for free here, versus Aegis, which can exile, let's say, the Cavalier of Thorns. Then I wouldn't be equipping anything this turn. So I think I like Colossus here. Could also give it haste with the boots. But doesn't seem as good as just equipping the axe. Alright, hit you for 12 double strike trample. Can our opponent survive? They do have a decent amount of toughness, but they'll have to chump with pretty much their entire board. Opponent blocks with just a troll. That's not going to be enough, I'm afraid. So yeah, opponent had a very explosive start. Maybe not quite the turn 2 Nykthos to unload, but pretty close. But turns out a Leyline Axe beats the green Leyline. Awesome, on to the next one. Okay, we're on the draw, and how can I say no to this hand? A Leyline Axe, turn 2 Foundry, turn 3 Knuckles, play free Colossus. Opponent considers. So it could be a Phoenix deck. And a Shadow Spear. Could also come in handy. Now, if we were playing Pioneer as opposed to Explorer, this Darksteel Citadel would have been Sanctum of Ugin, which would have let us search up another Metalwork Colossus. Opponent with a talent, so could still be a Phoenix deck, could also be a Lotus Field combo deck. No real difference in how we are going to sequence. So yeah, Colossus already down to 3 mana. So I guess I could play it and give it haste next turn, instead of playing the Knuckles. Alright, Ledger Shredder points towards Phoenix. So they might have some bounce spells, but their burn is not going to be good enough for Colossus. So I kind of like the hasty Colossus plan here. And then next turn I can still go Knuckles, replay Colossus if they bounced it, and equip. So we don't really lose out on anything. So yeah, turn 3, attack you for 11. Opponent takes it. Now we've got a Ward 1, so it's going to be more difficult for the opponent to interact. And I don't see them dealing 20 damage here. And we've got plenty of ways to give Colossus Trample and Double Strike. Impulse their own Ledger Shredder. That's fine. And our opponent explodes, I'll take it. On to the next one. Okay, we're on the play. We've got double Colossus, although not a lot of ways to discount it, so we're hoping that Smith maybe finds something to bridge the gap. Yeah, I'll try it. And then turn 2, could play Ironcrag and then save Smith plus Portable Hull for the following turn. Now, yeah, it's a close call, because Ironcrag can maybe set up a Synthesizer next turn if we top deck it, which would be useful. I think I still play the Smith. And then Leyline Axe, Foundry, Citadel, all decent options. Citadel lets us play land next turn, although doesn't discount Colossus as much. So maybe actually go for Foundry, since we're pretty far from casting the Axe. And then even if we don't draw land, I can double spell, and then we're getting closer to our free Colossus. Land is still helpful. So can go Foundry, Ironcrag, Shadow Spear. Opponent contemplating a removal spell, Volcanic Spite. Could imply a Lotus Field combo, although more likely to be a Creativity combo deck. So opponent's looking to cast Indomitable Creativity to put all sorts of expensive cards into play. Could be Worldspine Worm with Xenagos. So there wouldn't be a ton of targets for Portable Hull, but it can also exile treasure tokens, for instance. Our opponent keeps up 3 mana. So we could just cast a Colossus, could also Portable Hull first, just to get a bigger discount. Yeah, it's not exciting, but might be the play still. And our opponent makes Colossus disappear. Okay. We can get it back, but then we won't be in a position to recast it. Another Portable Hull. Might want to hang on to that one, even though we could run back the same play. That one resolves. And then probably pass a turn now. Could see an end of turn big score, which can set up the Creativity, Stern Lesson instead. So yeah, maybe holding the Portable Hull to exile one of their artifacts. So they can't combo kill me, they need 2 artifacts in play for that to work. Although they could technically Creativity my Colossus as well to use it as removal. Draw another Colossus. Step 1, I think Portable Hull. Exile your Power Stone. Opponent's gonna Gear Hulk in response. Alright, so at least they're not countering another Colossus here. So if they're on a Gear Hulk build, they may not be trying to combo kill with Creativity, it's more of a value Creativity, I guess. And then I can still play Colossus, but won't be able to equip. It's probably fine. Opponent jumps. Play another one. Yeah, it's the activated ability, losing Hexproof and Indestructible. There's a Fable now. For more Revolts, could be useful later. For now, just equip Shadow Spear. And attack. Their opponent's at 7. And any reason to do anything else here? Could get back Colossus in hand, sacking double Portable Hull. But then I'm not really in a position to cast it. Probably fine to play the Vault. Another stern lesson. So yeah, creativity would be effective here if they have it. But our opponent explodes, I'll take it. And we get to rank up to Diamond. So yeah, Colossus, definitely putting in work. On to the next one. Okay, we're on the play, and double leyline axe in our opener, no Colossus to go with it. And a synthesizer, so yeah, I think this is good enough to keep. With the Scry 2 from synthesizer, we can look for Colossus, or for additional ways to trigger synthesizer. And then we're off to a pretty explosive start. Coppermine Gorge, I wouldn't mind seeing a 1-drop, so we can Foundry into Portable Hole. Commune with Spirits instead, so this must be a Bard class deck, they actually found it. But we have the perfect answer in Portable Hole. Alright. Land is good, so we can Synthesizer plus Portable Hole. And our opponents are going to be pretty devastated, since the Bard class deck certainly relies on Bard class pretty heavily. But yeah, still no Colossus in sight, no way to trigger Synthesizer, so we are also just kind of top decking here. Samut can draw them a card. And another Foundry. So I don't have any great plays I can make. Probably still fine to play the Foundry. And then it's a waiting game. Brass Knuckles would be awesome too here, triggering a Synthesizer twice. Opponent's got another Bard class, they can immediately level up. And deploy more stuff. And yeah, that's a lot of stuff. Zergo as well. Alright, so we've got one more turn to find an answer here, pretty much. Smith can go digging. Can we find Colossus? We can, 3 of them in fact. Only get to keep 1. So, exile your Bard class, although the damage has been done. Play Colossus. And then next turn we can suit it up. So we still might have a game on our hands. 2 Bard class answered, so not too likely to see more of them. But they also have Boseiju, which could destroy artifacts, although there's quite a few of them that they need to deal with. Alright, and our opponent just explodes, I'll take it. So yeah, we got to see the Bard class matchup from both perspectives now, and Colossus came out on top both times. On to the next one. Okay, we're on the play. We have a double Smith Colossus. So it's going to be a slow hand in a way, but on the play we can maybe get away with it. And with double Smith we're pretty likely to find ways to discount Colossus. Or maybe find a Synthesizer. Opponent with Heartfire Hero. So Gruul Prowess. So finding Portable Hole's good. I'll take a Leyline Axe, even though we'll have to pay full price for it. And next turn I could consider playing Smith and then playing Citadel afterwards, so they both pick up a counter. And if we find a Portable Hole, I can still go a Darker Wastes and lose 1 life. Alright, Burning Tree, setting up a more explosive turn 2. And the Alchemist Plaudits, which also triggers Valiant. So there's a lot happening. But yeah, we take 5. So, play Smith. And gotta be Aegis here. And we gotta try and play defense. Swift Spear. This deck probably playing with Atarkos Command as well. So single blocking Emissary is not going to work out for us. Could double block. If I double block Heartfire Hero, what happens if they Monstrous Rage? Then this picks up 2 more toughness, so we would still trade. So maybe double blocking Heartfire works, unless they have Burn Spell plus Pump Spell, but that's not super likely. And yeah, there's the Atarka's command. So we do still trade. But we also take a lot of damage in the process. We're at 3. So yeah, it's not looking good. Found Synthesizer, but it's going to be a little bit late to the party. So play Aegis, exile Alchemist, and then technically we're still alive, but if our opponent sneezes, we die. Ramanop Ruin's eventually going to be a problem too. But I assume we just die right now. Alchemist not plotted, just cast. Can they give it haste? They sure can. A Reckless Bushwhacker. Alright, we've finally met our match here in the red green aggro deck. So not a whole lot we can do. Yeah, our hand was a little slow to get started, and in this matchup that's not where you want to be. Okay, we're on the play with a triple Leyline Axe hand. So the good thing about this is if we find a Colossus with Smith, we can immediately play it for free on turn 2. I mean, I gotta try it. Who am I to deny this opening hand? Maybe could have considered keeping 1 in hand to trigger Synthesizer if we find it, but then I give up on the turn 2 Colossus Dream. And there's not too many ways to make that happen. Come on, Ingenious Smith. Not quite. So then maybe a Shadow Spear. Opponent green-white could be kind of a company creature deck. And Peacekeeper. Even if they name Colossus, I can just ignore it pretty much. So they probably name Foundry, or maybe Synthesizer if they're thinking ahead. They could also name Leyline Axe, I suppose, because it also taxes the activated ability, so we wouldn't be able to equip the axe until we pay 5 mana, which is probably not happening. And yeah, opponent did name Leyline Axe. Found another Smith, so now we can go Smith into Shadow Spear potentially. Found Synthesizer. Alright. So our opponent could already cast a Collected Company. They're gonna Griff's Boon the Peacekeeper. Wow, was not expecting that. So maybe it's more of an aura deck. And now Thalia. DOS tax or Synthesizer. All of this is pretty awkward. So Foundry it is. And do we attack? Maybe send in one of them. Put on double blocks. Sure, that works for me. And then Synthesizer into Knuckles is pretty sweet, if we can pull it off. If we draw land, we could Synthesizer, equip Shadow Spear to start getting life back. But I'm sure our opponent's got more disruption. Another Thalia. So now we're just back to casting Synthesizer. Ooh, Colossus. That was a good top deck. So Synthesizer into Colossus. And we need more Knuckles. Kind of like Aiganjo as a potential removal spell, or a land. I'm sure we can use both. Another Knuckles seems overkill. And then let's say I attack. Opponent takes it, play Colossus, and make a construct. Alright, so now with a land I could also equip Leyline Axe for 5 mana, and that might present lethal. Or we can just go for Shadow Spear. Peacekeeper hits us for 4. And our opponent keeps up 3 mana. So they might have a Werewolf's Bodyguard to remove whatever creature I try and suit up. So in that case, I'm better off either hanging onto Eiganjo or casting the Knuckles and then hoping they can only deal 4 damage next turn. Yeah, keeping up Eiganjo is a safer play. So then I just attack with what I have. Although Bodyguard can exile the token. Might want to leave something back. But at the same time also want to present lethal. So yeah, interesting spot. I think I start by attacking. I'll leave the Smith back. Opponent jumps. So I could now play a 4 mana Brass Knuckles, but I think it's still a little bit safer to keep up Eiganjo if they go end of turn Bodyguard. They would otherwise present a lethal. It's going to be an Aven Interrupter instead. So yeah, that would also be lethal, but in hindsight, equipping Leyline Axe could have done it. And now another Thalia. That's not going to stop Eiganjo. And take out your Peacekeeper. Alright. And then take 2. And now we should have plenty of ways to cross the finish line. GG's. Would still have to watch out for a Boseiju for 1 mana, but looks like they don't have it. Alright, so ended up being a pretty close game. Turn 2 Peacekeeper doing work, but eventually triple Leyline Axe still kind of paid off. So yeah, this Metalwork Colossus deck is a lot of fun if you enjoy artifact decks that can put a lot of stuff in play very quickly, and then with the added variance from Leyline Axe, it can lead to some exciting moments as well. So yeah, that's going to do it for today's gameplay. Want to thank you for watching, hope you enjoyed, and as always, have a nice day.